Hello, friends. I'm Kerry, and this is my lovely wife.
I'm Trelle,
And we're doing this podcast called.
white-haired wisdom.
And why do we call it that, Trell?
Well, I think we need to take a look in the mirror and we can figure it out. How about you?
Yeah. And so, folks that don't know us will not understand that you and I are newlyweds. So why don't you tell them a little bit about how that happened?
Okay, spit it out. Well, both of our spouses passed away in 2021, quite unexpectedly, and it was Carrie's second loss and my first. But God had something already in store for us that we had no idea for. And it's a blessing when God knows your days ahead. And I'm thankful for that we don't know what's going to happen, but He does. And He already has a plan to take care of us. What a blessing.
Yeah. And so, the topic of today's podcast is that it's not too late. You know, Latrell's in her 60s. I'm in my early 70s. And, it's not too late to find love again. And there are many things that it's not too late to do. The thing that was so attractive to me as far as a relationship with Latrell and I together was not only because she is an incredible woman and very pretty, but she was already involved in ministry. She's been a gospel singer. Tell us a little bit about your life and your singing, and then I'll go to my side.
Well, I was born singing, and that's no lie. I used to climb up on the piano when I was able to climb. 2 years old, my daddy said I would climb up on the piano and start banging and say, "Sing, Daddy, sing." So I've always, and also my family, I'm the baby of 9. Everyone sings and plays instruments, and Mother and Daddy sang, and with their sisters and brothers. So I was born singing and grew up singing, and I'm still singing.
Yeah, and thankfully able to sing and perform, today. And so that was very attractive to me that God put her ministry and my ministry together. I've been involved in television ministry for a little over 12 years, and we've produced over 500 shows. And so the fact that we could come together and share our hearts, share our love, and share our ministries with others was very attractive to me.
Well, it was what we'd prayed for. Both of us had prayers, not that we were asking for someone specific, but God put us where you want us. And Lord, whatever your plan is, I want to be in His plan and in His will, and I know Carrie does too. So it was just a matter of trusting God. It's always best to trust the Lord. He knows what we need, and our plan is never as good as His plan is. So just cooperate and let Him work it out.
That's true. And friends, I want to encourage you not to listen to the naysayers. My first wife, Diane, had died, and I'd remarried and moved to Dallas, Texas, where remarried an East Texas lady by the name of Lanita. And while I was living there, we went to Prestonwood Baptist Church, and I was in Zig Ziglar's class. And I always wanted to write a book. But everywhere I turned, I had writer friends that I talked to and said, "I want to write a book." And they were naysayers. They looked at me like, "Well, you're an old boxing coach." You see, I'd been a professional boxing coach for over 25 years of my life and been all over the world with boxers. And so they thought that I didn't have any gifting. And really, I didn't have gifting as far as being a writer, but I could put it on a page and pay someone like you to correct it, to clean it up, and publish it. But I was afraid to do it. Went to Zig one Sunday and asked him if he would read a chapter. Then I went back to him the next week and asked him, I said, "I asked you to read a chapter last week." And he said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "You're a good storyteller. You've got a great story to tell. You should absolutely finish your book." And so, and he says, "When you do," he said, "I'll write the foreword for your book." And it took me 2 years to write that first book. I've since written another 8, but it took me 2 years to write that first book. And then when I went back and got ready to publish it, Zig wrote the foreword. So the only point I'm making is that I was, I think, 57 started doing the television program in my 60s, and then what have we been doing recently?
Ooh, recently, God has really lit a fire, and He's put Kerry in film ministry, and that is to point people to Jesus Christ in many ways. And the first film that He did in 2022, it was released, was Hope Lives in Hohenwald, and it was about the uh, town was losing young people, two or three a month, and the law enforcement and the churches and the shelters got together to help those people, and they built hope centers. And this movie documents all of that. And it is so wonderful because of the move of God and the lives that were changed and the people that were delivered from their addictions. It's incredible what God's doing. And then there was a second one called Fight the Good Fight that was about all of the testimonies of the boxers that he had been involved with, and many world champions, and got their lives recorded in a documentary. And it's incredible, and it's exciting, and it's full of action and boxing. Even if you're not a boxer, it is really fun to watch. And then the third one is Forgotten No More, and that's about, we went to the Dominican Republic, and Kerry had been there many, many times, but he was led there to do a documentary about the ministry of the churches that are involved with the Haitian people who are living in practically modern slavery. And that is really eye-opening, and it's very powerful, and it's very sweet and true. And it also is a blessing for those people, and it's eye-opening for us. And we hope that y'all will look for those because they are available to watch with links online.
Yeah, we have a distributor for Hope Lives in Hohenwald, and you can find it on Prime or basically anywhere that you can rent a movie. But friends, I want to let you know that if you have a church function and you want to do a movie night, if you'll just contact us, we'll send you any of the films that we've got. All of these films are faith-based. They point people to Jesus Christ. And we'll send you a link to where you can show this film. Obviously we want to make our money back. We spent making them. But more importantly, we want to win people to Jesus Christ. And that's why we give them away to churches. And anybody that doesn't have the money to rent one or buy one will gladly give you a copy. I've given 1,000 copies of Hope Lives in Hohenwald away since we produced it, and I know Latrell's given over 1,000 copies of her gospel CDs. And so, and the thing of it is, we're not sitting here, I'm not patting her on the back, and she's not patting me on the back, and we're not trying to emphasize that we're anything special. We're not. In fact, nobody would ever thought that I could have done anything when I was growing up significant for the Lord. And I don't know that I have yet, but in my 50s, I wrote my first book. In my 60s, I produced a television show that we've produced over 500 TV programs. And then now in my 70s, the Lord is allowing me to produce movies. Can you believe that? And I mean, this is something that couldn't happen 20 or 30 years ago. You had to go to Hollywood, but today they've got HD cameras, and basically anybody can produce content. And we feel like the Lord wants Latrell and I, for the rest of our lives, to produce content to encourage people and to point people to Jesus Christ. But Latrell, so many people are beaten down, all of their lives, told that they're no good, told that they'll never amount to anything, and they believe that, and God has put a desire or a dream in their heart, and it's never too late for them to follow that dream. And I want to follow up on that in a moment, but talk to that about that for just a moment.
It is never too late, and it starts out with trusting God. It does go so much further when God is in charge. I mean, I think about, I've been writing songs since I was 16 years old, and I didn't know what those songs would do. I didn't know where they would go. Didn't start recording songs that I'd written until about 1995 or so. But even then, God had a plan to get my songs out there. I've been able to share them in missions in London. My CDs have been taken and shared in Africa. And it's things that I never dreamed of either. But it's never too late. I am still writing because God's still giving me songs. I'm still open to wherever He wants to send us and wherever He leads us and whatever work He puts us in. And it can be it can be just helping someone. When we were in the Dominican Republic and he was filming Forgotten No More, we went to a children's home and just gave them food, and those children were so thankful. It was wonderful. It was work of the Lord. Whatever you have to put your hand to, it may not be filmmaking or writing a book. It may not be singing. It might be something else, like cutting somebody's hair. It might be something very simple as call them up because they're lonely. But when Jesus said that when I was hungry, you fed me, and when I was thirsty, you gave me drink, and when I was in prison, you visited me, and when I was naked, you clothed me. All of those things are the work of the Lord, and it is never too late to let Him work through you.
Yeah, and so we want to encourage you. Whatever God has called you to do, do it. It's not too late. Don't let the naysayers say you can't do it. Don't let them say you'll never amount to anything. Go do whatever God's placed in your heart. When I was in the Dominican Republic just a few weeks ago, Trell, after you and I had been down there just a week or two ago, I went down for a final weekend to do some filming just to finish the documentary. We met a young man that was a Haitian that had worked as a boy in these Haitian fields. He worked for, in those days, it's been 20 years ago, for $2 or $3 a day. He told me that he worked one day that he remembered and didn't even earn enough money to buy enough food to eat after working a whole day in that 90-degree sun from sun up to sundown. And what happens is the plantation owners own these villages, and they don't want the Haitian people to learn anything, because then they could leave and go get a job or go back to Haiti. And the Haitians aren't welcome in the Dominican Republic because they don't have an education. They don't speak the language. But this young man, Johnny we call him, said he learned to read, and reading allowed him to dream. And he followed that dream out of that sugarcane village, which very few of them ever do. It's modern day slavery, and you can look at the film. Forgotten No More, and it's phenomenal. But he got out of that life and was very successful, very well dressed, speaks 4 languages because he said, "I learned to read. That caused me to dream, and I followed my dream out of, they're called the bateys." And so his dreaming allowed him to go out. So, friend, if you have a dream, follow your dream. And if God has placed something good in your heart to do for Him, go do it. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because if God's told you to do it, you can do it.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And there's also other things that God has gifted and opened doors for us. And I know that we all have things in our past. We have things we regret. We have things that may try to hold us back. But we can leave those behind. And that's some white-haired wisdom. Leave behind the things that have hindered and go on. And God will lead you in that. And other white-haired wisdom, never too late to do what God wants you to do. There are so many stories that we can share with y'all, and over the time, I'm sure we will.
Yeah, I suppose next time we might talk about, we've only been married, 8.5 months, nearing 9 months. We can talk about our whirlwind adventures in the last 9 months and share that. But folks, if you like anything that we say, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the word out, and we would appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel or follow our channel. We'll have it on YouTube. We'll have it on Rumble. We'll also have it on the places like Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that, where you can download it and listen to it in your car. But subscribe, to the link below, this channel below, and we will be delighted to connect with you. And if there's anything you'd like for us to cover, anything you'd like to ask, just write it in the comments below, and we'll read the comments every time we post a show. And we're going to try and post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then the next time we record, we'll try and record something and answer your questions. Anything you want to say, my dear, before we go?
Well, I don't know. Most everything reminds me of a song. So let's say, it's never too late. Just open your heart. God's always there, and you can be his partner.